So you're back on here in the episode of the Indigo Podcast, and today just wanted to give you all a little update on some things I've been thinking about recently and just how life has been going for me personally the past week or so. First thing I want to get into, new 5K PR. So this was at the race I ran recently, which was the 2025 YMCA Turkey Dash. I think in terms of men, it was like 1,000 or maybe it was 1,000 for the race. I placed 11th out of 1,000 something. So anyway, I just want to go over the main thing is this race almost didn't happen because leading up to this race, I had a sore throat and I was in the urgent care and I was coughing up a storm. So the confidence I had going into this race was pretty shot because I'm I don't really feel that good. And I couldn't really get the quality of runs I wanted to get in because I wanted to get in more up-tempo runs and workouts. But the week of the race, I did my first workout back, which is 5 by 1K because obviously it's a 5K. So I'm all right, let me do 5 1Ks to get a simulation as to where I'll be at. And in total, it was like an 18:37 elapsed time with the workout portion. But obviously, the actual time I ran was a 17:33. So ran way faster. I ain't gonna lie, I was a bit surprised because just the sickness kind of distorted my view as to what was going to happen on race day. But all things considered, with this race almost not happening, I'm very happy with how it happened. But first thing, average pace. Average pace was a 5:40 pace. Like I just said, I don't really remember. But the total time it took me was 17 minutes, 33 seconds. Average pace was a 5:40 pace. I placed 11th out of 1,453 people. So yeah, 1,453 people. That's how many people it was. So just imagine that at the start. Crazy. It was OD. But the pacing throughout the 5K was very consistent. So the splits were 5:45, 5:44, and then 5:43. Last section of it was a 4:55 pace, but the chip time from the bib was a bit faster for each mile split. Just some major points to add. How did it feel? How was the start? I mean, I've kind of hinted at the start being chaotic, but what was the experience like for the start? So when I started, bro, I couldn't even get out how I wanted to. Because, if you have experience running track and, cross country races, you want to get out as close to the front, just to kind of position yourself correctly. So I couldn't really properly position myself because there was little kids here and I didn't want to elbow them and, have them bust their butt on the floor. So just trying to bob and weave, it just took way more energy, even though we were still holding, most of us were still holding a pretty good pace. But still, the start, if you were there, yeah, it was kind of chaotic. Not even kind of, that's an understatement, but it was there. But next thing I want to add is, how did the race feel? And I put here in parentheses, because I ain't gonna lie, I just felt it was alright, because like I said, coming off the sickness, my body was still in very good shape, but I just wasn't as comfortable with running because, I'm still kind of bouncing back. So the first mile felt I was I don't know if I can break 18. I was kind of concerned, but then I was just hold on the pace, you'll be fine. And I was with a group, I was with a decent pack of people. So just seeing them move up, I went with them. So that definitely helped me stay on pace, just having people around you that are going pretty much the same exact pace you're trying to shoot for. But the first mile, not gonna lie, it felt, it was all right, even the last 2 miles, 3.1 miles, 2.1, I mean, they were just all right, but how I felt after the race, though, I felt pretty surprised and amazed because when you're sick, bro, it just makes your athletic performance really dip. So just having that in the back of my head, I was a bit cautious of how I was running it. And not cautious, I wasn't holding back, but I just felt kind of out of place. I just didn't feel really in it, Overall, I'll take the PB, big PB. I wanted to hit sub 18 for so long. So it's just a little casual side quest, because I'll say the half marathon was the main thing of the year, but glad I could finally break sub 18 because that's a goal I've been wanting since cross country season. So that's great. But anyway, transitioning out of, the 5K PR, just want to go over some things I've been thinking about recently. So the first thing I've been thinking about a lot recently is getting reps in. So the major takeaway I have here is shooting your shot even when it feels like no one is watching. So an example for me is with the podcast and content, because I'm not gonna lie, recently I was really questioning why I make content and why I post, podcasts and do shorts of me making food and all that type of stuff. Because I don't know, I think I was too into the numbers and too into the likes and too into the views. So I got clouded as to why I was doing it. And I also think it's a good thing to check in. Okay, why am I doing this? It was a good moment of clarity to kind of, okay, why am I doing this? Just reminding myself why I started doing it, So honestly, a part of me was questioning, should I even keep posting? Because, all right, I got to edit this, why am I editing this and no one's watching? But the thing is, that's the point. And I'm saying there's well, I don't remember what Tyler said. If you listen to Tyler, the Creator, I'm pretty sure you've heard about this, but he referenced the point when he first started making music, he was dropping like pretty consistently and no one's really listening. Like he got like maybe 5 plays and he was doing that for years. And now look at Tyler, Chromacopia went crazy. Don't Tap the Glass went crazy. He's been on tour, crazy popular artist now, right? So same thing with podcasting and posting content or whatever. When you first get started and you're getting the reps in, you're not going to really be seen like that, Same thing with running for me. I mean, I've experienced this because when I first started running, doing long distance training, I didn't really get that many accolades or accomplishments from it. But now have done a couple things that, got me out there like a respectable runner, So I just think, like I said, the major takeaway here, just keep shooting. You know what I'm saying? It sounds corny. And I had to just sit myself down and talk to some people I know, like, bro, like, okay, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? I can't just step back and stop shooting my shot and not seeing, what's in the future and what I can do with this, So to add on to this, getting reps in over and over and over again, especially imperfect ones, build momentum, confidence, experience, and progress. And I kind of want to hold on progress in terms of how I've progressed with editing videos, because kind of went through my content. I don't even like watching my old videos. This is how I was with my old music. I'm like, bro, like my voice is squeaky. Like, bro, I'm not trying to bump that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like we do have to look at I don't want to phrase it that way, but the things we did in the past, if you will, and kind of just ground ourselves. I think a lot of times when we keep progressing, we make a lot of progress to the point where we forget where we came from, So I think me going through my old videos and seeing, okay, this is cringy, the editing wasn't that good, and now I look at my most recent one, I'm like, okay, there's some progress there. It looks more visually appealing. I think progress is the key indicator of you getting your reps and the result of it. So like I said, if you don't shoot your shot, you're like, I'm never going to get any views. I'm never going to get any likes. You know what I'm saying? No one's really going to mess with me. You're never going to be able to see the progress, Me grinding myself, like I said earlier, and just putting myself at face value, just seeing, okay, why am I questioning this so much? You know what I'm saying? What's the problem here? And obviously, I was being impatient and I was like, okay, I forgot about the whole point of this. I forgot about the whole plot, which is getting reps in and getting experience in. Because now that I know, okay, what I want to do after college, what I want my main career to be, this is going to help me get reps in for that. So anyway, the closing statement I want to add here is, if you don't get the reps in, even when discouragement is at its highest, you'll never be able to see the full picture. If you never do the work in the dark, you'll never get to see the finished product in the light. Ooh, nice. But anyway, that's the last thing I wanted to add to that. Number 2, getting reps in, because I think getting into numbers and getting to analytics, just for anything like with lifts and runs and paces and just really looking at objective measures too much and too heavily, it can really distort what the main plot of things is, which one of them is getting reps and just getting in experience. Because if you don't get experience under your legs, you won't be able to grow fully because you have nothing under you. You have no foundation. But anyway, that was number 2, getting reps, and just something I've been kind of thinking about recently. Next thing I want to add here, I think this is one of the hardest ones to do out of all of them, but number 3, responding versus reacting. You may ask, what is the difference between responding to something versus reacting to something? So this is where I come in. I'm about to tell you what I think, in my opinion. In my opinion, like I said, this is how I'd separate the two. So responding, the first one I want to go over is we deliberately process a situation, read the room, and reply in a calm and rational manner. It's not strictly fueled by emotions. Instead, it is mainly fueled by what is right in the setting you're currently in. So that's my little definition of responding. That's the first one I want to go over. The second one, reacting, which I think a lot of us are at fault and we've done before. I mean, I'm a pure example. I mean, I'm a human being. Sometimes someone asks you a dumb question. Like, I'm going to give you a dumb question, for example, like just a stock one, right? You have a broom, right? And you walk in the crib. Let's say your little brother sees you with the broom. Hey, you about to sweep? Nah, I'm about to vacuum the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, just stuff like that. And you just want to react and just be smart and witty. Reacting, on the other hand, is very irrational and emotionally driven and lacks a deliberate process found in responding. Reacting cannot be eliminated completely, but it's key to mitigate how much you quote unquote react to things, especially things that don't mean much in the grand scheme of things. Just from experience, I've realized that reacting to something purely out of anger or frustration will most likely make a situation worse than better. It's harder to respond than it is to react. So, like I said, when you're in that situation, you're in that predicament where, let's say your little brother's like, hey, you about to sweep, and you clearly don't have a vacuum. So like, why would you be asking, okay, are you about to sweep? Like, what else am I about to do? You know what I'm saying? But when you're in that situation, you want to just fire off, you know what I'm saying? Because it's quote unquote a dumb question, The immediate reaction is to just react, like just poorly, but it takes more effort and it takes more responsibility to sit there and be like, all right, how's the best way to respond to this? Like, should I respond in a joking manner? Should I just be like, all right, yeah, I'm about to sweep? Or should I just respond in a better way than just clapping back at them and saying something stupid, It's so easy to just react. It's so easy to just talk to someone crazy or give them an attitude. That's the easiest thing to do in that situation. But responding, you have to really think about it. Now, obviously, you're not going to sit there and just sit for 10 minutes before a response. That'd be kind of strange. But you have to sit there and actually be the bigger person and be mature about it. And that takes a lot of effort, in that split second. So I think just practicing that, like getting reps in, you can get reps in with just responding correctly in the situation the best you can. Just trying to do the best thing you can when it happens over and over again. Because we're going to get asked stupid questions, quote unquote. Stupid is subjective, like I said, forever. It's not just going to be a one-time thing. So knowing how to hold your own and handle yourself in that situation when BS hits you, that's one of the main things we need to have as human beings, in my opinion. Closing point to wrap this part up is responding is the hard wrong while reacting is the easy right. So kind of just adding on to what I said, just responding to things. Yeah, responding to things. I was confusing it with reacting, excuse me. But responding to things takes the most effort. It takes the more mature approach, and it takes the more thoughtful approach, And reacting is just, I'm just going to say something crazy. I'm going to say the first thing that comes to mind. Sometimes the first thing that comes to your mind is kind of the most inappropriate thing to say in the setting, depending on who you're talking to and just how you go about it and kind of your manner in saying it, But anyway, number 3, responding versus reacting. I think this is something that, like I said, a lot of humans, not even a lot of humans, everybody should have in the tuck and know how to go about it when something that's just foolish and dumb that would normally aggravate you immediately, just knowing how to go about it when that happens. Last thing I want to go over is overplanning. Now, this is supposed to be a different section, but right before I recorded this, I wanted to switch it because I feel like this is more current. But I realized that when I go into my calendar and to-do list, I wouldn't fully take stock of the amount of energy certain tasks actually took out of me. It's made me feel more overwhelmed as the days went by. I never fully realized that overplanning was the cause of it until now. So the major takeaway of this section I wanted to add is more always better? So is it better to just run more miles every time or work more hours or just add more things to your to-do list? And when is doing more actually less effective? So the definition for doing more being less effective is diminishing returns. So if you keep adding a stimulus and keep doing more and more and more, there's going to be diminishing returns. There's going to be a lack of return of interest at some point. So I think with me, what happened is I'll look at my to-do list and I'll just be like, bro, this is a lot, and I wouldn't really realize that I was doing it to myself, I just didn't realize that. I don't know why, but when you put more things on your to-do list, you put more things on your plate, you feel better. I've said this before that, spinning your wheels is bad, but I was honestly doing it to myself, so I was being naive in that sense. I just think that you have to really know your personnel when you plan out your day. Me being 18, I'm pretty young. I have no kids, I don't have a wife. My day's a free slate. Like, honestly, I think for anybody, you can really do whatever you want to do in a day. Literally, obviously, a certain obligations. People are getting older, but theoretically, you could do whatever you want to do in a day within reason. So that with an empty calendar, you just want to fill in all the empty space. That's how I was looking at it. And I just kept filling in empty space and putting in more energy demanding tasks. I'd put like 4 big tasks back to back to back on top of training. That's a lot. So the strategy I'm currently using for planning is limiting it to a certain amount of tasks and adding extra tasks under it just in case, I get through all of them, which most likely will happen. So let's say I get through all the 5 and the day isn't over. Okay, let's say I'll do some smaller extra tasks just to, get a little bit ahead if I want, but not burning myself out. Because I feel like if you burn yourself out over and over again, you won't fully be able to progress and, get the reps in and do what you need to do. So I just think unsubconsciously, I thought that doing more is better. And I just kept adding more and filling in the time instead of really breaking down, okay, what does this day look like? Okay, I have this run. Okay, am I going somewhere? So maybe I should pull back on the to-do list instead of just trying to fill in all my time with just extra stuff that really doesn't need to be there. So I think this honestly ties into hustle culture, just doing more, trying to get the most accolades, trying to beat the next person, trying to compare yourself and, be in competition with people. But honestly, that just leads to burnout. You're burning the candle at both ends. And that's what I was doing to myself. I was just adding more and more and more. And I'd wonder, okay, why do I feel so fatigued before I even started my day? Because I would just look at the to-do list. I'm like, oh, I got to clean this. I got to do this. I got to go here. I got to edit this. I'm like, bro, it's just my mind is too many places at once. So I can't focus on the one thing when I'm in it. I just think a lot of people overplan. And for the longest, I thought I wasn't doing it until I fully sat down. I'm like, okay, what does my day look like? Okay, what type of tasks am I doing? Because some tasks are more energy demanding than others. Like, let's say you clean your whole house, versus folding your clothes. I mean, obviously one is more energy demanding than the other. So I think it's really important to take stock of that when you plan things out and keep that in mind when you plan things out. Not, undershooting yourself. I think that's one thing that, you don't want to do repeatedly, but also not overshooting yourself. Cause I feel like I said, with me, my day, I can make it look however I want, so especially doing online school, you're not transporting yourself to school. So it takes out a lot more variables for the day. So not spreading yourself too thin, but not spreading yourself too wide either. So not overshooting or undershooting. I think when you have a lot of free time to, edit a video, because theoretically, I don't have to make the podcast, but I want to. That's something I'm really passionate about. So I'm going to make time for it. But if you're going to make time for it, you can't just fill in all the rest of your time when you're not doing that with stuff all day. You know what I'm saying? Because, training takes energy out of you, obviously. And then doing work takes energy out of you, obviously, mentally. So just keeping stock and keeping the idea of where your energy demands are throughout the day. But another thing, too, I was thinking about this when I was going through all that. But another thing I do is just write out everything I want to do for the week, the day before the week starts, which would be Sunday. So this week, well, it was Sunday, so it could be considered a week, I guess, but I just wrote out everything I wanted to do for the week. So editing, schoolwork, blah, blah, blah. And that helps you split it up equally each day. So I want to do it throughout a 5-day span, Monday through Friday. I like kind of having a little bit less work on the weekend. That's just me personally. But I looked at it and I was like, okay, I can split it up 3 to 4 tasks a day. I'm saying maybe 5. So having that in mind, having a goal in mind, because I feel like I didn't have a clear-cut goal as to, okay, what am I doing this week? I'm saying? I was trying to make to-do tasks on the fly, but now that I have that list, I can just cross it out. And then when that day is over, I'm like, okay, this is where I started, this is where I ended, and this is how much I got done, But I don't know if that would be helpful for y'all, but that's just something I did because being burnt out is real. And I would play it off. I'm like, nah, just keep being consistent. But at a certain point, being consistent can't save you if you're just being aimlessly consistent. So you're just aimlessly adding more hours, more time, and not taking stock and taking the reality of diminishing returns. So anyway, for over planning, because I ain't gonna lie, I was doing that for a while. And now I'm like, okay, I see the light. I see what I was doing wrong, and now I'm going to try and fix it the best I can. Last thing, just closing points. Just a few things, just looking through this I want to leave y'all with and emphasize a bit more. But the main thing for number 2, getting reps in, I want to kind of further clarify. Shooting your shot even when it feels like no one is watching. So when it feels like, the hope is gone, I'm saying you're never going to see the light of day, just keep shooting, bro. As long as you're being somewhat deliberate and somewhat, intentional behind your actions, you should be fine. Just keep shooting and keep doing what you're doing. But next thing, responding versus reacting. I would say the major takeaway from here is responding is the hard wrong, while reacting is the easy right. So just keeping that in mind whenever, your little brother's like, hey, you about to take the trash out, you got a bag of trash in your hand. It's like, bro, what else am I about to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm about to throw this at Yucatan. Bro, I'm about to go to the trash can. What else am I about to do? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, don't do that, what I just said. But, respond just in a laughable way or just a more appropriate way in that manner. But last thing is over planning. So I think the main thing here is it's more always better. So just keep it in mind. The reality of diminishing returns, it exists, it's real. Doing more and adding more things to your resume, adding more things to your plate, adding more things to your to-do list may not be as advantageous as we think. But anyway, that's the episode for y'all this week. Episode 110. That's crazy. It's, just a lot of episodes being piled on top of each other. But that's just how life has been lately. Good 5K PR. Just some thoughts that's been circling my mind, and hopefully that's a good use of y'all and y'all take some away from it. But anyway, that's the episode, and I'm gonna see y'all next time.